Wow.
How y'all doing? We got another little short video here on how to check your brakes on your vehicle. And once again, for this video, in this demonstration, we're going to be using a 2018 Honda Accord. But this is a general thing. I mean, this is going to be the same for all vehicles. You'll be able to do this for any vehicle you own. And we've already got the tire off for demonstration. And but you can do this with your tire on. You can check the front pad. But the only thing that you won't be able to do with the tire on is you won't be able to check the rear pad, which there can be differences in pad thickness on the front and rears. Sometimes they're not always going to wear at the same rate. But right here, we're going to check and see right here. Now, I don't have a brake gauge to show you, but you can usually just check by eye without having a fancy tool or anything. But as you can see, right here is the metal, and that's, that's where you don't want your brake pad to be. But right here, we still have plenty of thickness. I would say this is about 6.5, maybe 7 millimeters of thickness. And then what you want to do is you can go back here on the other side of the brake caliper, and you see that this pad right here on the back is still, that's about, I'd say about 7 millimeters. So this one still has plenty of life to it. Now I'm going to show you on the front tire for demonstration on just being able to check, a quick view. Sometimes it's hard to see, but you got to angle it just right. You can get your camera in right here, and you can see that we can see the front pad right here. So we know it's still got plenty of life. That looks about 7.5 millimeters. And you can almost see the back one, but like I say, it's easy. It's best to have the tire off to be able to see. Can't really see it on this one. Now let me show you, for demonstration purposes, a worn out brake pad. Let me show you here. Let's see. Okay. Now, show you this right here. As you can tell, this one, it's just about ready to be replaced. See, it's still got a little bit of pad life right here before it gets to the metal. So it's getting very close to need to be replaced. But see, this is your friction material on the pad. That's what stops the car. And you don't want to get to the metal right here, because that's when you'll start ruining your rotors and it'll start rubbing metal to metal. And that's when you'll start hearing a lot of grinding and squealing from your brakes. You want to change it well before that. Now here's a pad that is completely worn out. As you can see, it is completely flat. There is almost no friction material left on it, barely anything. See, it is completely flat. See right here, you can see this little shiny spot right here by my thumb. That's where it's actually been rubbing against the rotor, the metal part of the pad. That's what they call going metal to metal. Now I'm gonna show you on the rotor right here. Let's see where I have it. Now as you can see, this little line right here where it's been rubbing, and you can also tell right here on the outside of this rotor, you can see with this pad, you see how it's been rubbing right there. This is how the pad sits on the rotor, and it has been rubbing metal to metal right here. And all that scoring on that rotor, that will destroy a rotor. So that's, it's definitely time to replace this one. It can be turned, but if you can, the best thing is just go ahead and replace it. And we don't have the tool right here, but if you have your rotor off, all rotors will have written on the back of them or on the front, they will show you the dimensions on when it's time to replace a rotor, because there's a point to where you can't turn them anymore. Because you can turn a rotor to cut them down, but you can only go so far. For this particular rotor for a Honda, the minimum thickness for this rotor is 8 millimeters. So if you have like a dial gauge or a tape measure that has millimeters, you can measure this rotor thickness and see. And if it has more than 8 millimeters, it can still be turned at a local shop. That'll save you some money instead of having to buy a rotor. And that's it for this brake video, and that's how to check your brakes.